you get 2 sons and 4 houses. First house, everything was good, everything was well provided. That was the father's house, isn't it? So can we thank our fathers who provided us everything well? Everything well provided, nothing was missing. Agreed? That is the first house. And 2 sons grew together quite differently. How many of you come from a home of 2 sons? Home of 2 sons. In your home, in your father's house, there were 2 sons. 2 sons, put your hand up a lot high. 2 sons, 2 sons. So in that well-provided home, everything was provided, but one grew differently from the other. That is scene number 1. Then the time comes, younger fellow takes all he has and goes into the peer house. Will you say it with me? Peer house. And there's entertainment, there's competition at the same level, and peers instruct peers. Say with me, peers instruct peers. Are there any younger sons here in the peers house? Peers, younger sons, Amal, younger sons. Peers instruct peers. So that's the reality, isn't it? Though he was so raised up in his father's house, so provided, so protected, its tug came. So if there's any father that has this worry, will that tug come to my son? Any mother has that worry. Best thing is to have Jesus in their heart, isn't it? You raised them up the best you knew how, provided all you had. But time came when the tug was so great, he forsook the father's house and to the peer house. You understand the word peer? P-W-P-E-E-R. That same age people do the great thing. It's a house of great heroism. While the going is good, it's really fast moving. That's the peer house. Then comes the Pharaoh's house. Pharaoh's house. Where there are taskmasters. It's a massive edifice. There are servants and slaves. And those who really get powerful and rich. So you're a cog in a great machinery, isn't it? Anyone in that house? You're only a cog in a vast, functioning, well-oiled machinery. And that son, who was the best that father had, was in the well-oiled machinery, one of the very small, easily replaceable cogs. Now, you may be a big cog, not easily replaceable, but it's a Pharaoh's house. So I'm not going to ask you to put up your hand, small cogs and big cogs, but you understand the sociology in it. But then, the scene returns to the father's house. It begins in the father's house, and these 4 scenarios comes to the last one again. There's a father who has never changed. Will you say it? There's a father who has never changed. So we are going to sing this great song by Graham Kendrick. Who can sound the depths of mercy in the Father heart of God? So the scene returns to the father's house. And there is now a new boss in the father's house. Who's the new boss in the father's house? The older son. He has taken over all the home and home company. He has taken it over. And he's running it with greater efficiency, perhaps more efficient than the father. And the bottom line and the top line were better than when the father ran it. But thank God, father was still alive. Shall we say together, thank God, father is still alive. And thank God, when the prodigal returned, father met him first. Father met him first. And he was waiting for him to come. And he saw him far away. And then Ron unfolded the story so very well. We are glad for the father's house. And then the son learned, in the father's house there was entertainment, there was a wonderful cup of celebration, ceremony, acceptance. It was all there in the father's house, isn't it? And the son would have thought, why did I ever leave it? I didn't have to leave it. There was merriment in the father's house. And we see the story with the older son outside. I'm sure while the dancing was going on, the son who was seated in the wrong seat with a master's heart, tough heart, quick to judge. How many are like that? Some are quick to go the wrong way. Some are quick to judge. Two kinds of people. But I'm sure he changed. And the father's house became a father's house. Two seats. One where you judge others and you play the Pharaoh, but you are a little orphan in your heart. Other one where you did so wrong, but return to so much. Will you say it with me? Return to so much. That's not enough. That sounds nothing much happened. Return to so much. In the Father heart of God. If you have never received Jesus Christ into your heart, this is a great story of the Father waiting for us to return. And God so loved the world, He gave His only begotten Son, that whoever believes in Him should not perish but have everlasting life. So our best enterprise, our best success, our best profit away from the Father's house is really not profit. It's all in the Father's house. Let's sing.
Inside the depths of sorrow, in the Father heart of God, for the children were rejected, for the life so deeply scarred, and each light that we've extinguished has brought darkness to our land. Upon our nation, upon our nation, have mercy, Lord. We have spoken the truth you gave us. We have bowed to other Lord. We have sacrificed the children on the altar of our God. Oh, let truth again shine on us. Let your holy fear descend upon the nation, upon the nation. Have mercy, Lord. Who can stand before your anger? Who can face your piercing hand? And hear the weak and helpless, and you hear the victims cry. Yes, you are the God of justice, and your judgment surely come upon a nation, upon a nation. Have mercy, Lord. Who will stand against the violence? Who will comfort those who mourn in an age of cruel rejection? Who will build for Come and shake us into action. Come and build us a stone upon your people, upon your people, have mercy, Lord, have mercy. For the heart of God, for there is a man of sorrows, who for sinners shed his blood. He can heal the wounds of nations, he can wash the guilty clean. Because of Jesus, because of Jesus, have mercy, Lord. One more time, the last line, last hymn, last verse. Who can sound the depth of mercy in the Father heart of God? For there is a man of sorrows, who for sinners shed his blood. He can heal, the wounds of nations. He can wash the guilty clean. Because of Jesus, because of Jesus, have mercy, Lord, have mercy, Lord.
You may like to come to the altar as a son, or as a father, or as a mother, to fortify your heart, to forgive a son who may have gone far away. But you are saying tonight, come home. Come home. Ye that are weary, come home. Earnestly, tenderly, Jesus is calling. Can we sing that hymn? You may be a father who's having a burdened heart, maybe about something that did not go very well. You are misunderstood. But you are saying today, tonight, I want to be the father in the story. I'll wait long. I'll wait forgivingly. You may be a son like the older son, saying, you didn't give me this, you didn't give me that. Though in the father's house, having some grievances. Come home. Please come to the altar. You may be like the younger one who busted up everything, and he was very competitive, very entertaining in a peer's world, but he lost it all. You may want to rededicate your heart tonight to Jesus Christ. Rededicate your heart to the Lord and say, Father, I always want to have your nature. I want to enjoy. I want to appreciate, say thank you to you for adopting me as a son and a daughter. Forgive me, Lord, if other things have stolen my heart. Other things besides the Father's good pleasure, my place in the Father's house, my function in the Father's house, my work in the Father's house. Beloved, it's not a time to lose a Sunday. It's not a time to lose the call of God for a season. It's the time to give your all to Jesus Christ, who gave his all. So you may want to come for a rededication. Whatever reason you come, please come forward. Ministry team, will you please stand up? stand in line to minister. As we give this call out, come home. Pray for someone close to your heart. Tell him also, come home. Don't be so far away. Come home. Don't be in your isolation. Come home. Don't be in your own thought world. High-mindedness. Come home. Softly and tenderly.
Softly and tenderly, Jesus is calling, calling for you and for me. Say on the portal, He's waiting and watching for you and for me. Come home, come home. Ye who are weary, come home. Earnestly, tenderly, Jesus is calling, calling, oh sinner, come home. Why should we tarry when Jesus is pleading, pleading for you and for me? Why should we linger and heed not His mercies, mercies for you and for me? Come home, come home. Ye who are weary, come home. Earnestly, tenderly, Jesus is calling, calling, oh sinner, come home. Time is now fleeting, the moments are passing, passing for you and for me. Shadows are gathering, death night is coming, coming for you and for me. Come home. Come home, come home. Ye who are weary, come home. Mercy tenderly, Jesus